In July 2001, a British nursing student named Louise Kerton travelled to rural Germany to visit her fiancé's family. Her father received one letter from her while she was there. The handwriting was unusually neat. There were no crossings out, no words added in the margins. Louise had dyslexia. She had never written a letter like that in her life. On July 30th, according to her fiancé's mother, she dropped Louise at the train station in Aachen. Louise's name does not appear in the passenger records for that train. It doesn't appear on the ferry from Belgium to England. There's no record of her crossing any border. No one has seen Louise Kerton since July 30th, 2001. Louise Kerton was 24 years old in the summer of 2001. She lived in Broadstairs, Kent, and was training to be a nurse. But nursing school wasn't going well. Louise had dyslexia. Reading took longer. Writing patient notes was difficult. Everything required more effort than it did for other students. In the spring of 2001, she failed part of her third year. She would have to repeat it. According to her family, Louise was struggling. She was also dealing with weight loss and body image concerns. Friends said she'd become very focused on her appearance. Louise had been with her fiancé, Peter Simon, for about 6 years. They'd met ice skating in Broadstairs when Louise was 19. Peter was 14 years older than her. They lived together in Broadstairs, in a flat owned by Peter's mother. That summer, Peter's mother, Ramona Simon, invited Louise to visit the family's house in Strassfeld, a small village near Bonn, Germany. It would give Louise a break from England, time away from the stress of her failed exams. Louise arrived in Germany on June 21st, 2001. She would spend 5 weeks there. Sometime before she was supposed to leave Germany, Louise's parents received a letter from her. The letter was dated July 20th, 10 days before she disappeared. Louise's father, Phil Kerton, noticed something immediately. The handwriting was different. When Louise wrote letters, there were always lots of crossings out, words added in the margins, notes squeezed into whatever space she could find. Her dyslexia made her writing messy, scattered, full of corrections. This letter wasn't like that. It was neat, organized, brief. The spelling was correct. The lines were straight. Phil said it was very different to her usual correspondence. What was Louise trying to say with that neat handwriting? Was she trying to sound calm? Was she concentrating very hard on appearing normal? Or did someone else write it? If someone else wrote it, someone who didn't know Louise well, they might have thought a clean, polite letter would be reassuring. They wouldn't have known that Louise's father would recognize the neatness as wrong. The letter is one of the only pieces of evidence that Louise was alive in Germany after June 21st. Everything else is second-hand, what other people say happened, and the letter doesn't match how Louise wrote. According to Ramona Simon, she drove Louise to Aachen Hauptbahnhof on the morning of July 30th, 2001. Aachen is a city near the Belgian border. It's about 47 miles from Strassfeld. Ramona said she parked in a no parking zone, took Louise into the ticket hall, said goodbye, and left. She didn't see if Louise bought a ticket. She didn't see if Louise boarded the train. Louise was supposed to catch the 12:04 p.m. train to Ostend, Belgium. From there, she would board a ferry to Dover, then travel home to Broadstairs. That was the plan. But Louise's name does not appear in the passenger records for any train leaving Aachen on July 30th. Her name does not appear in the ferry records from Ostend to Dover. There is no record of her crossing the Belgian border or entering the UK. If Ramona dropped Louise at the station, what happened next? Did Louise change her mind? Did she walk away from the station instead of boarding? Did she buy a ticket under a different name? Or did she never reach the ticket counter at all? Train stations have cameras. They have ticket agents. They have witnesses. Aachen Hauptbahnhof is a major station. If Louise was there, someone should have seen her. But according to German police, there is no direct evidence of anyone having seen Louise at Aachen station that day. No independent witnesses, no footage, no ticket purchase under her name. So, either Louise was there and left no trace, or she never arrived at the station in the first place. Peter Simon had left Germany 2 days before Louise. He'd returned to England on July 28th to pick up building materials for renovation work at his mother's house. On the evening of July 30th, he went to Dover to meet Louise. When she didn't arrive on the 7 p.m. ferry from Ostend, staff at the port said he became very emotional. He was crying. He was demanding they check under seats for her. He seemed frantic. Peter called Louise's family home. He spoke to her sister, Francesca. He told her Louise was missing. Francesca later said Peter sounded hysterical. He told her not to call the police. He said it would frighten Louise away. Peter's sister Angela said that in the days after Louise disappeared, Peter reportedly told her something. He said Louise's ghost had appeared to him. He said she had been in great pain before, but now she was at peace. Some people struggle to understand these details. If Peter thought Louise was just lost or delayed, why talk about her being at peace? Why ask the family not to contact police? Others see it differently, that Peter was in shock, saying things that didn't make sense because he was overwhelmed. Peter's family had moved from Broadstairs to Germany the year before Louise disappeared. Peter's older brother, Michael, had stood trial in 1993 for the murder of a 79-year-old woman in Broadstairs. He'd beaten her to death with a champagne bottle. Michael was acquitted on grounds of mental health. He had schizophrenia. After the trial, Ramona Simon didn't trust authorities. She didn't let doctors see Michael for his mental health. She reportedly gave him something to calm him down if he became agitated, but he received no formal treatment. Michael lived in the Strassfeld house during Louise's visit. Kent police stated they had no reason to connect the 1993 case to Louise's disappearance. German police investigated and found no evidence linking Michael to what happened to Louise. Phil Kerton hired private investigators in late 2001. They travelled to Germany and tried to speak with the Simon family. The family refused to open the door. They refused to answer any questions. According to the investigators, there were hardly any sightings of Louise in Strassfeld during her 5-week stay, despite the fact she'd told friends she wanted to see the local area. German police searched the Simon property in September 2002, more than a year after Louise disappeared. They also searched gravel pits near the village. They found nothing. Weeks after Louise disappeared, there were reported sightings in Aachen. According to some sources, a woman matching Louise's description was seen in the city. On August 8th, she was reportedly seen buying a map in a hotel. On August 10th, the owner of a homeless shelter said he saw her with a young Polish man. On August 11th, she was allegedly spotted twice more. A nun running a soup kitchen told Louise's family she was certain Louise had been there for a meal or two, but hadn't been back in a while. None of these sightings were confirmed. Police investigated, but couldn't verify the woman was Louise. If the sightings were real, it would mean Louise walked away from the train station, that she chose to disappear, that she's been living off the grid in Germany for more than 20 years. But why would Louise do that? And why hasn't there been any confirmed sighting since? No financial activity, no contact with family, no slip-ups in more than 2 decades. If the sightings were mistaken, if it wasn't her, then where is she? During the investigation, Police found Louise's camera at Peter's home in Germany. There was film inside. When they developed it, the photos showed scenes from the Bad Zwischenahn area, a region in Lower Saxony, about 250 miles north of Strassfeld. Why were there photos from Bad Zwischenahn on Louise's camera? Had she travelled there during her stay? Had someone else used her camera? This detail appears in reports but is never explained. It's just noted as part of the evidence, but it raises questions. If Louise took those photos, when did she go to Bad Zwischenahn? Why? Who was with her? If someone else took them, why were they using Louise's camera? There are two ways to explain what happened to Louise Kerton. Both are theories. Neither can be proven. Louise was under immense pressure. She'd failed her nursing exams. She was dealing with body image issues. She'd spent 5 weeks in a small German village with her fiancé's family. Some believe Louise reached a breaking point, that the trip wasn't really about getting away. It was about getting away permanently. According to this theory, Ramona did drop Louise at the train station. But Louise didn't board. She walked away. She went into hiding. Some people think the neat letter could have been an attempt to sound calm and buy time before anyone started looking. The homeless shelter sightings in Aachen would support this. Multiple people reported seeing a woman matching Louise's description in the weeks after July 30th. A nun running a soup kitchen told Louise's family she was certain Louise had been there. Louise had dyslexia and struggled academically. She was dealing with weight loss and self-criticism. Her relationship had significant age and cultural differences. Some people see these as potential reasons someone might want to start over. This theory suggests Louise is still alive somewhere, living under a different identity or off the grid entirely, that she cut off all contact intentionally. The lack of any trace could mean she succeeded in disappearing completely. People have done it before, vanished intentionally and never been found. But others struggle with this explanation. If Louise wanted to escape, why write a letter at all? Why not just vanish? And why hasn't there been any confirmed trace of her in more than 20 years? No financial activity, no accidental sightings, no contact with anyone from her past. The other explanation is that Louise never made it to the train station. According to this theory, something happened in Strassfeld before July 30th. Maybe an argument, maybe an accident, maybe something else. Ramona's story about the train station could be mistaken memory, or it could be inaccurate. The letter might have been written by someone else, or written under circumstances we don't understand. Peter leaving 2 days early is a detail some people find difficult to explain. His emotional reaction at Dover, talking about Louise's ghost, asking the family not to call police, raises questions for some, though others see it as grief and shock. This theory suggests Louise didn't leave Strassfeld alive. That something happened to her before July 30th. But German police searched the property and the gravel pits. They found nothing. No body, no forensic evidence, no proof of violence, no evidence that supports this theory. Without evidence, this remains one possible explanation among others. Both theories fit some facts. Both have serious problems. Neither can be proven. German police investigated. They searched the Simon property. They searched gravel pits near Strassfeld. They checked train and ferry records. They issued public appeals. They found nothing. No body. No witnesses who saw Louise at Aachen station. No financial activity after July 30th. No confirmed sightings. British police, Kent police, made inquiries on behalf of German authorities. They established that Louise had not travelled back to England. After months without any contact from Louise, German authorities classified her case as a suspected homicide. The BKA, Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office, listed her among unsolved murder cases. But no evidence was ever found to prove what happened. No body, no forensic evidence, no witnesses to violence. In 2010 or early 2011, German police closed the active investigation. The case was no longer being actively worked. Louise was declared missing. The file remains technically open, but there are no active leads. Of everything Louise left behind, it's the letter that haunts her father most. That neat handwriting, those careful sentences, the complete absence of Louise's usual messiness. Phil Kerton kept the letter. He's shown it to journalists over the years. It's the only direct communication from Louise after she arrived in Germany. And it's wrong. If Louise wrote it, why did she suddenly change the way she'd written her entire life? Why was it so neat, so careful, so unlike her? Was she trying to hide how she really felt? Was someone watching her write it? Was she in distress? Or did someone else write it entirely? The letter proves something happened. It just doesn't prove what. Louise Kerton has been missing since July 30th, 2001. She would be 48 years old now. Her father still lives in the family home in New Ash Green, Kent. He's kept the same mobile phone number for more than 20 years, just in case Louise calls. Her mother, Kath, died of stomach cancer in 2010 without ever knowing what happened to her daughter. The Simon family moved away from Strassfeld years ago. Peter is believed to be living in Switzerland. They have never publicly commented beyond their initial statements to police. German authorities classified Louise's case as a suspected homicide, but they never found evidence to prove it. No body, no crime scene, no witnesses. The file remains open, but there's nothing new to investigate. No new leads, no new evidence, just the same questions. Was Louise at Aachen train station on July 30th, 2001? Did Ramona really drop her there? Did Louise walk into that station, or did she never arrive? Did Louise walk away from her life on purpose, or did something happen to her before she ever left Strassfeld? German authorities believe one answer, but they can't prove it. And without proof, both possibilities remain. Just a letter that doesn't look right. A train she never boarded. And a father who still waits for his phone to ring. What happened to Louise Kerton?